Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Hi, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Baller Mom page and welcome to the Baller Mom feature series. I have a special guest with me this evening on the Friday evening towards the end of October here in Toronto, Canada. And my guest will be sharing his love of basketball, all that he's done for basketball here in Canada and also with some athletes in the States and what's next for him. So welcome to everybody. Join in. Let's talk. If you have questions, you can go ahead and ask, but I do have a series of questions that I'll be asking. And this is one guest I'm excited to, of course, I'm excited about every guest, but this one here I'm excited because, he's got a long history of the whole sports here in Canada. And even though I'm fairly new, it's always interesting to hear how it started and compared to where we are. And then, how far we can go ahead with this in the future. So allow me to invite my guest to for you guys to get to know him more. When you get the invitation, you will accept and then you will be joined with us. So I'm going to wave to everybody that's coming in and good evening to them. So good evening, Coach Ro. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing
Good. Happy Friday.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How has your month been so far?
It's been really crazy, to say the least, because now I'm entering a different field of consulting and scouting service. So I'm traveling, having meetings, constantly on the phone. So it's just taking me all over the place.
Oh my goodness, that's exciting. And we're going to delve into a little bit more of that as well too. But without any further ado, introduce yourself. Who is Coach Ro Russell?
Coach Roy Russell, first of all, I have to say, is a guy that is from Jamaica, came to Canada when I was young and started playing hockey, of all sports.
Oh, really?
Where I lived, and started to play basketball as a latecomer. And so I had to really work on my game to catch up to everybody else. And that brought me that work ethic, that passion, and the opportunities to help other kids to follow the same path to get where they wanted to go. And now I'm in a position to help a lot of other kids and organizations and schools and everybody. And now I'm proud of it. And then also, most of all, I just so you know, I'm a born again believer.
Amen.
I give all glory to God, and Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. So I always want to state that first of all.
Yep, can't forget that. Amen. We all have to start somewhere and we don't do everything by ourselves. There's always a higher being that guides us, and it's good. And never be ashamed of your faith. That's definitely a good thing on my side as well too. You said that, you start off with hockey, which is definitely a Canadian sport, by the way. But, as because we're both here talking about basketball, there's that growth of basketball that's also slowly taking over the hockey world. So besides the hockey that you started with, when did you actually get involved with the whole basketball world?
Well, like I said before, I played hockey when I was younger, and I lived in a predominantly white area, and I was the only black kid in the whole area. And I faced a lot of adversity and racism and all that stuff. So I ended up leaving hockey and moving on from there. And then I wanted to, do something extracurricular and as a hobby and something that I enjoyed and stuff. And I saw kids playing at this park and this outdoor court and that outdoor court. And so I kind of, shifted over there and started to play basketball. And I hit my first shot that I played when I took a shot. And then after the rest is history, as they say, so
Wow.
because I started out late after that at 12 years old, I started to really work on my game to catch up to the other kids that started when they're 5, 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to, everything I do in basketball.
Wow, that's good because it's true. We all have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody starts different sports, which shows that you're a multi-sport person. So you understand what it takes to be an athlete, what it takes to be a student, what it takes to be a kid who loves a specific sports, which is great. But as you got more involved with it and you realized that you can turn it in terms of giving back, how did you transition from being the athlete to the side of being the coach? Because you have the coach under your name. How did you transition from being, say, I'm no longer the player anymore, but I see others that I can bring in and help them get to where they need to go?
Okay, well, yeah, definitely. I actually was when I was 15. I started coaching when I was 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
A citywide league for my area in Tobico that I lived, and people that were older than me, I was coaching them because I was a student in the game and watching a lot of NBA game and college games. And when I'd watch it for the fundamentals and the footwork and the technical stuff versus for the glitz and glamour and the flying and the dunks and big shots and everything. I did it for the fundamental of the game, and so coaching came naturally for me, and because I knew what I was talking about, people would listen. You know what I mean? Because it worked. I started training when I was 13, and I started coaching when I was 15, and then I started Grassroots when I was around 18, 19 years old.
Wow. And now you're 25 years old, so that's a good thing,
I
right?
know. So I'm 25. I've been doing it for 8 years.
Yeah, just definitely. That's good. You're a vet in that, and I like that. That's good. So transitioning into the coaching side of it, I mean, you're well known here within the Toronto and Ontario basketball world as being, one of the forefathers or helping athletes understand that they don't have to just be a player, that there's more to it than that. So tell us a little bit about some of the best moments and some of your hardest moments in that whole transition of leading that as a coach and helping your other athletes and saying, hey, I see your skills, I can help you or I can guide you. Like, there's got to be ups and downs, so just talk to us a little bit about it, because you're going to be consulting those who are wanting to get into it or who are in it, and we got to be real about it's not all lights and glitter, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely. One of my biggest or best moments in basketball was in I think one of them was the year 2000. We had about 22 kids that got scholarships in one year.
Oh,
And
wow.
all the guys in our A team, most of the guys in our B team, all got Division I scholarships. And so that was a historical year because that feat will never be challenged again, because that's a lot of guys getting scholarships in one year. And at the height, I had a lot of coaches coming to Toronto. I had a lot of athletes and a lot of kids that were really hungry and working on their game a lot to where they all got scholarships. So that's something that is a feather in my cap that, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. That will never be duplicated again. My next great moment was in 2008, where we were my Grassroots AAU team, our 17s were ranked #1 in America. We won the prestigious Super 64 championships in Vegas, and we beat the likes of Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, a host of other kids, and a lot of NBA sponsored teams that we not only beat them, but we dominated them. We had a very good
Wow.
team with Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph, Dwight Powell, Mike Kabongo, Brady Heslop, Ronaldo Dixon, a young Andrew Wiggins, Nick Stauskas. Our team was loaded. That's when we try to change the narrative that Canadians has pros. We have Canada has pros, and here they are. Because not only did we beat Americans, but we dominated them.
You
So
dominate them.
yeah,
So
so that
that's
was
pretty good, because that was, I believe, probably where Americans start to look at the North and not and realize that, oh, they're not just a hockey town. They also
yeah.
have basketball there, and there are talented basketball players there. Now, how was it for you in breaking into it? Because right now, thankfully, there's so many different avenues for different players and athletes to be able to even look beyond just going schools in Canada by getting to the US aspect of it. How was it for you in that transition, getting into that, that side of it, and letting the Americans know that, hey, we're not just a small town or small little part of the flag here in North America, but we're legit, athlete and this is our work ethic, because I'm sure it had to be a hard sell, but with the talent that you have, it probably wasn't. But from the business side of it, making sure that when you're registering, they see you as a real contender, not just, oh, like a C team or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. We had a motto that was called "Taking Names." When we had
Okay.
to get a mindset that we were down there to take names and prove to everybody, because obviously the universities, the scouts, the NBA, everything was in America, and so we had to go down there with a chip on our shoulder to say that we're going to prove to them. We're not going to say, "Oh, it's not fair, it's not right, there's politics, all that stuff." We were old school at that time, and we're going to go down there and be able to prove to them that we're just as good, if not better, than you guys down in America. And that's what we did. So we had a lot of tough times where referees wouldn't call the calls for our American guys, and they had put up us against the best teams all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really tough. Our brackets, and just the hustle and bustle of grind of driving all over the country and improving ourselves. We were able to do that. You know what I mean? So it was a really, really good experience, because it made the kids start out as young boys and finish as grown men, and help prepare them for college, because the same thing would happen then, where when they go to college, they have to start all over and prove themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
the coach doesn't care about where you're from, what you do, everything. You got to go through all the adversity of pressures, of competition, of seniority, of all the things out there. So it helped them to be a lot pure, So it was good. We had a lot of adversity from the Canadian side, and that was one of my challenges that I had, where I was trying to do what's best for the guys. Most of them wanted to go D1. So when you were sending guys to prep schools, the high school coaches didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
You send guys to D1, the university coaches didn't like me. When I sent guys to junior college, the OCAA coaches didn't like me. When we're doing AAU, the provincial governing body didn't like me. When we're doing all
So
these,
you had all these different stacks against you,
yeah,
no matter where you went.
yeah. We even went to France on a World Select tournament, and obviously Team Canada didn't like us. So it was us against the world. It was me against the world, but I felt that what I was doing was right, and I don't change anything. I'll do it all
Mm-hmm.
over again, and a lot of kids got impacted and helped. So it was for the right reasons, and it worked out.
It worked out. And like you said, you end up putting a lot of them throughout into even at an elite level, whether it be NBA or playing Europe or playing top Canadian for Team Canada. So that's good that you didn't give up on it. You kept pushing forward. I like that.
Yeah.
And that's good to know all the different aspects, the goods and the bad, the struggles, but the perseverance was always consistent. And now, after how many 20 plus years in it, you put in that part of it aside, and you're starting a whole new adventure. So talk to us
Yes.
a little bit about the whole consulting services side.
Yes, definitely. I for 20 plus years, I was coaching from prep school from August to March or April, then AAU, right into AAU, April to August. So I never had a chance to, slow down a little bit, take some time off, go vacationing, whatever, my family. And, now's that time. I'm getting up there. I just felt it was the right time to make a change and use my expertise and knowledge and know-how to help other organizations, to help athletes, to help prep schools to know how to do it. I mean, I was talking to a gentleman today that wants to start up a prep school program, and I start talking away and giving them all these pointers and everything. And he was like, you know what, hold on, that's too much information. Let's meet up so I can write it down, because this is very, very involved. And so
Nice.
I just feel myself, I'm just running off the mouth at it, because it's just natural to me. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, like the back of my hand. So,
You've
I'm
lived
there.
it. I mean, you started when you were eight
I
years
was
old,
there, you know what I mean? And
right?
now I've been able to make it into a living now to provide that service to different organizations. I'm even getting calls from organizations and teams in America,
Mm-hmm.
organizations overseas in Germany, India, China, Jamaica, Bahamas, all over England, that want me to come over there and improve their infrastructure and do huge camps and coaching clinics and just, start up academies and help kids go to prep schools and all these things. So it's
Wow.
really enjoyable because now you get to help the world by all your experiences and all your the things that you went through.
You too. And I think I just wanted to put a plug in there for the student athletes that are watching or going to watch or listen later. Like, you can start off as the player, but you can also turn it into an other aspect of it, still be part of the sports world and not necessarily be always the player. Because the knowledge that you learn throughout your career or your time as a player, you can also utilize that in different ways. Like you said, you started taken into the coaching side of it when you were 15, 16 years old. You were playing, but you also wanted to give back, and that took in. So it's a personality wise, it's a business mindset wise. So for any of those kids that have that, push forward with it. Don't give up on it, because it never ends. After 20 years, you could still be in sports and continue doing something that comes naturally from you, but you've learned it and you put in the work at an early stage. So good. I just wanted to put that in there, because that's something for us parents. We want to make sure that the kids are always aware. You're not always just the athlete. There's so much more to it than that. But with regards to how far you're willing to go and all the different avenues of the people you want to help, what are some of the 5 things that we can look for you when you're doing your a potential client? If I, like you said, you spoke with somebody before that says they want to meet in person. What are some things that you look for that says, okay, I don't mind, we'll book time, we'll talk through, versus, you know what, you don't sound like you're serious, I'm not going to go through it. You come to me when you have checks ready to go, because otherwise you're giving yourself freely for all and there might never be an ending. So there's got to be
Yeah.
some criteria. So, and if so, what are they?
Yeah, well, basically, first you get that call, or I might call somebody that I feel needs my services, and then obviously verbally they say they're interested and they like that, and then we exchange emails. I send them a quote of, if I do this, this is what it costs. If I do that, that's what it costs. And then once they on an email agree to that and send the quote back, then we meet, and then we'll be able to go through all the things that they need. They need players, they need coaches coming up, they need logistical help in terms of day-to-day operations or know-how. They want to get into U.S. tournaments, whatever they need. They need to, get a better branding and have events and all these different things. And then you go to work, and then you're able to, show them exactly what you're going to do. And then there's exchange of, money, and then the services start.
It keeps going. I'd like that. So it's great, because it's a great settings that you're not just saying it, you have the track record, as we talk about, to prove it. It's not like you just popped out of nowhere. And I've watched NBA games since I was 10 years old, so I'm an expert. I'm an expert when I'm watching a game, but put me on the court, it's a whole different thing, right? So it's
Exactly.
good that it's great to have somebody who understands from all sides, which is awesome. Now, when it comes to parents, because I'm always speaking from a parent's perspective, what is it that we should be aware of when we're approaching you with your consultant services for our athletes, or even for ourselves? Are we just to reach out to you and say, hey, my kid's really, really good, he's a good point guard, he's a center, help him? Like, what are some things that we should be more specific to you, so that you are able to understand our need and then we can work together?
Yeah, well, basically, it's more my side. I help the parents out, because I ask them a series of questions, and they say they're interested. They call me, like
Mm-hmm.
a lady called me the other day, and she feels that she'd want further help, more personal help for her son, because she doesn't know how to navigate through the whole journey, and she don't feel that the people in her son's life at school or whatever, they don't know what they're doing, or they don't know how to make it happen. And then I asked them a bunch of questions about the player in terms of his physical makeup, his talent, years of playing, and then I go into the academic to make sure that that checks out, because that's very important to know what it is. And then after that, I let him know I send him a quote. Then we meet, and then we're able to put a plan together, and then we start from either training to get them better, marketing them, getting him into camps and situations, coming up with taping all his games, taping all his games are very, very important. But
Okay.
nowadays, you have an iPhone, you have a tripod with a camera. You can get services from a lot of these up and coming videographers, and you can they don't charge a lot to be able to tape all your games. And a lot of schools, especially prep schools, they
Mm-hmm.
have that artificial intelligence that sits on the wall of the school, and they tape away. And then so there's a lot of access to get tapes, and tapes are mandatory, because
Mm-hmm.
I could tell a coach till I'm blue that your son is good, but they have to see it for themselves, and then
Yes.
you have to make the really good tape. Like mixed tapes aren't good. Coaches don't like mixed tapes. You know what I
Could
mean?
you repeat that?
Yeah, coaches don't like mixtapes. That's for someone's Instagram, for their fans
Yes.
or whatever, their friends. But coaches, they like scouting videos. They like to be able to see what you did before the play, what you did after the play, and then see it consistently over the course of a tape. And then after that, they want a game tape. They want to see the whole
Yes.
game. They want to see when you're not at your best, when you don't look perfect, you don't hit all your shots like you normally do on a tape, a video. You want to see what happens. What do you do? How do you act when you miss, when you
Mm-hmm.
fall down, when you get blocked, what your reaction is, how you come off the bench, how do you go to the scorer's table, all those different
Yep.
things.
Your
How do,
reaction when you
yeah,
miss, your
yeah,
reaction when it goes in, your
exactly. They want to
reaction when
see all
somebody
that.
else's goes
Yeah,
in or miss.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
so they
like
want to
that.
see everything, and they put it all together in terms of that. So it's a little bit of a science to it, but it's all good.
Yeah. And I'm glad you touched on the video aspect of it, because, it makes real good, especially we're on Instagram and our attention span is like up to 20 seconds or 30 seconds. So of course, everybody's always going to put the best part of themselves, whether it be pictures, videos, whatever it is. Do you? I think it's great. But if they're contacting you and they're trying to get into this journey of whatever the ultimate goal is for their child, based on what you said, is great to make sure that you show a whole picture, a holistic picture of them as an athlete, but you also touch on the academic side. So talk to us how you get that side of the academics, because are you specifically asking for transcripts, report cards? Are they checking in on you with their tutoring? Are they checking you with their midterm marks? Like, how does that come in? Because everybody always says, be a student first, be a student first, but everybody learns differently, so how does that come in, or how much of a detail do you go in working with the parents and that student to make sure that the academics part of it has all that check marks?
Okay, yeah, definitely. It's all the above. Once you meet with the parents and you talk about the academic part, you want to get transcripts right away.
Mm-hmm.
They can get an unofficial transcript from the school, or they can get report cards. And then
Okay.
after that, every semester, you want to see the updates, the improvements on the report card to make sure that their GPA is right. And at the time, now you don't have to have your SAT. You haven't had your SAT for the last 3 years. This year's the
Mm-hmm.
last year that you don't need a SAT, but starting next year, you'll need to have an SAT again. So you want to get those scores, and you want to help them get SAT prep. If they're struggling in school, then let's get a tutor. Let's have a plan. Let's manage it properly. And you go from there. You're always asking the parents on what things they have. Do they have a learning disability? Are they on IUP? And all those different things, because it's important. Like you said, people learn differently, and
Mm-hmm.
so there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to attack it. Get them
Yes.
assessed and all those things to know what you're dealing with, and then you're always pushing them and mentoring them to do better in school, and let them know that if you do this, then this great thing could happen for you. So
Yep.
let's get it right. And then you're always making sure that you need to discipline them if they're not doing the right thing, and and go from there. So you have to really manage it to let them understand how important the academic parts is.
I like that. And it's great to know, because hearing from you is great. Hearing from another person is great. Parents, we say it, the kids may take it, they may not take it, but it's always good for somebody to repeat the same story that we're all saying. If you're a student first, you definitely have to put in the academic side of it. You can't get further without the proper academics, and you can't buy grades. You have to earn it, just like you have to earn your spot on the court, whatever team that you're in. So I'm glad that you put that detail in there in helping the parents understand it. And if there's help needed, you're able to provide that support based on that particular child's learning level or skills or knowledge or whatever the need might be. Now, when it comes to the Canadian side of it, you talked about, in the early stages, you will bring a whole stack of Canadian athletes. You're dominating the US. It got them to realize we're not just a hockey country, that we do have other sports here, and there are other kids that,
Yeah.
do other things besides it. Comparing us to the US, though, how do you find the current Canadian athletes? What can they do to stand out more? I mean, you already talked about when you started, you had take names as your mantra, as a focus that you were able to do it. Right now, all across Canada, we have multiple talents all over, and we're competing against US. We're with US. How can one particular student athlete who has goals or aspirations, wherever it might be, find a way to stand out for themselves so that they're not just a regular athlete?
Well, you have to. It's like you have to look at yourself like a firm. You know what I
Okay.
mean? You have to operate like a firm. Like everything has to check. You have to have all the checks and that's there that needs to happen. You have to
Mm-hmm.
really promote yourself to the fullest. You got to go to this camp, that camp. You have to have a trainer all the time. You have to tape all your games. You have to look like, nothing against regular high schools, but if you can, you got to be in a position where you're playing for a school that gets out there. They go to tournaments. They have multiple games. They travel. And so mostly prep schools are very important. But if you can't go to a prep school, then it's up to you to be able to, get with your coach and have a plan of getting your name out there. You want to be able to apply for different scouting services that can really get your name out there, every kind of showcase that's out there. So you have to be fully entrenched to get your name out there so people to know. Like, for instance, I just went down to the States the other day. One of my guys, a few of my guys actually, for a showcase event. And after the showcase event, all of a sudden he's getting all these interests because you got to go out there and let people know who you are. They got to know you
Mm-hmm.
exist. And so you got to train, you got to, promote yourself. You got to play the best you can. It has to be a passion. It has to be a lifestyle. You can't
Yes.
just, hey, this is me and that's it. You got to really put it out there and perform at that level. And everywhere you can, you got to go to show yourself at camp, at a clinic, wherever you could go and do it.
Do it wherever you go and do it, because especially if you have a certain goal or ultimate goal, you do have to push that. As in life, in everything, you can't just do and expect that everything's going to come to you. You got to be real with yourself. So for this, all the student athletes are joining or watching or going to be watching later, what Coach Roy is saying is just be consistent. Just be consistent in what you're doing. Don't just be the average. Find a way to stand out so that people can watch you. And whether you are not sure where to go, his services work with your parents to reach out to him. He can work with you to understand where your levels are and walk you through that path. Now, some of my followers, like they're somewhere in grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, some are high school, some are post high school, some are graduate and everything. So what is the current age group that Russell Consulting Services cater to? Where do you start and where do you end?
I start from the 4th grade.
Oh, okay.
And I go up to I go all the way up to pros, because sometimes certain pros, they want to change their agent, or they need some help for training, or having a place to train. They want to get a men's league. They want to get to different leagues and stuff. Sometimes they don't
Mm-hmm.
have a trainer. They need some advice about all that stuff. So I advise the 4th grade kid that believes that he loves it and he wants to pursue it and he's made his mind up. And it's better when I start. The younger you start, when you're doing a particular personal program for kids, that's the better. But most of the kids are like anywhere from the 8th grade to the 10th grade. But it's all the way from 4th grade to pros. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
Wow.
then,
So maybe one day when I become a pro, I can reach out to you, right?
yeah, that's definitely, definitely.
No, sorry. I'm on the sideline. I stick to where I am. That's good. And when it comes to the parents, because fourth grade kids, everybody, when you're in fourth grade, you want to be Steph Curry, you want to be LeBron, you want to be whatever. Like you see these big guys, and that's where you want to gear to. And there's nothing wrong with that. We always tell them, dream big. But as parents, we have to also be realistic with them. So what are some things, or what tips would you tell us to be realistic, knowing that the kid has talent, but understanding that the process it takes, so that we're not overarching ourselves that in a few years you're automatically going to get scouted, or once they get to high school it's done and there, you know? But because sometimes some parents, some of us have high expectations as much as the kids do. So on a realistic level, what are some things you can tell us to be, you know, just be real about it? So it's a process and
Yeah.
not a steps, you know, like just advise us on that side so we can take it on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, definitely. So basically, um, you always want anybody there is, to dream and believe in themselves and work hard for all the things that are out there. You want to reach for the stars, and if you land
Mm-hmm.
on the moon, you're still good. And so you never ever tell someone like, no, you can't make it, because you never know. Because there's been some kids, like, imagine people told Muggsy Bogues that you're never going to make college, you're never going
Yeah.
to make the NBA. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And Spud Webb and other guys that were too short normally, and those type of
Stoudemire,
things.
he's an
Yeah,
assistant coach now, right?
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And so I always tell people, if you don't fall in the profile of a prep school or a college or the NBA, then you have to work double extra more. You got to put more time. Like, I don't know if a lot of people watched the Redeem Team documentary with the
Mm-hmm.
USA with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and all those guys, but they really got to see the difference and the level that Kobe Bryant worked. He worked 3 times a day. He worked
Yep.
from 4 to 6 in the morning, 10 to 12, and then 6 to 8. And if you work out 3 times a day, and someone else works out once a day or
Once a
twice
day.
a day, right? Obviously, he's going to be a lot better.
Yep.
And that's the level that they have to think of it, that if you want it, then go get it at the highest level. You can't expect it's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you don't fit that mold that either a prep school, a college, or the NBA has. And there's a lot of other options out there. Now you can play in the CEBL, you can play in Europe, you can play in the NBL, you can do all these different things. There's Division 1, there's Division 2, there's
Yep.
youth sports, there's junior colleges, there's NEIAs, right? And now with high school, you might want to go to a prep school and be in the OSBA, but if you're not, then there's the Platinum Circuit, there's the Premier Circuit, there's the NJC, there's the
Yep.
NFC. So there's a lot of platforms and circuits that you could be in to showcase your talent and be able to achieve your goals. So, you got to be really determined, and you got to want it more than the other guy. Your work ethic has to be impeccable. That's the
Yes.
biggest thing that helps people, is their work ethic. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because not everybody is born, 6'9", 240. No, not everybody's like LeBron. Not everybody's like,
No.
or whoever else. Like, if you went through the life that Steph Curry did, you'd see his work ethic and the level that he had to go through to be a guy that was just ordinary, average height, average athleticism, average quickness, average strength, and what he's done to be the all-time best shooter in the history of basketball, and so
Mm-hmm.
forth and so forth. So it can be done, but you got to put that work in
You have to
early.
put in the work.
Yeah,
It
put
doesn't
in
come to
early.
you.
You can't wait till 11th, 12th grade and then decide you want to play basketball. That will be too late. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep. And so now this fourth, fifth grader has, see it and they get your message and say, Coach, I'm ready. I'm going to work for it. I'm going to do it. And now they're with you and they're all the way till say grade 10 or 11. And, they're trying to say, okay, what's next? What are some of the exposure experiences that you'll be giving them should they sign up with your services so that they can get that talent out there? You mentioned some of the tournaments or some of the different leagues that already existed, but from Russell Consulting Services, what are some of the plans that you have in terms of providing that exposure for them to get them there so that, they can take that step for themselves?
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, over my years of experience, I've been able to, collaborate and partner up with a lot of entities that help provide peripheral services to all these different kids, whether it be trainers,
Mm-hmm.
camps in Canada and the States, different programs that they have out there, summer programs, AAU teams, a lot of media people to help. I work with this organization called Elevate Others, and they provide a lot of videotaping and photography and a lot of media help to help these kids to get exposed and go from there. And I have a lot of trainers who work with me that I've coached, that I've known for many years and mentored, that now they have established practices that I can refer kids to. And but initially, I do initial evaluation training session and be able to see where they stack up in a based on a 10 scale. What they are with their shooting and their dribbling and their quickness and their athleticism and their movements and their finishing and all those different things. And then from there, I advise them, like, these are how much times you should be training. These are the things you need to be training on. And I refer them to certain trainers that can help them. And then you have to go to a whole bunch of camps. You have to go to a whole bunch of camps and prove yourself and experience it and really, go in the fire and see where you stack up against the best players in Canada and the best players in North America.
Yes.
And
Okay.
now you know what you have to work on, and then advise them on, different options where they live and what the cost may be for certain prep schools. Because, it's obviously if you're training from August all the way till June at a prep school, you're going to be better than a guy that starts practicing or tryouts in November and in February, and then they're on their own. So it's a whole series of things that you have to do to set yourself up for success.
I like that. And all the key points you keep saying is just you have to work for it. You can only do so much, but the individuals have to come with the heart that they're ready and dedicated to go, whether it be the parents supporting them or the athlete themselves. So that's good. Now, when it comes to other coaches, or other organizations or clubs or anything like that, and some more existing, how can they come to you or how can they work with you to get your services now with regards to the consultant?
Yeah, so for the adults and for coaches and organizations now I can mentor them and help them in terms of what's your end goal? You want to coach in college? You want to be a head coach of a prep school? You want to be a professional coach? Well, here's the avenues to go through. You got to get certified. You got to get this certificate. You got to, you have to you have to network yourself. You have to have a proper resume. You have to do all these different things that's going to help you to market yourself. You got to go to the Final Four. You got to travel to camps. You have to do all these different things to show that you're worth working with. And so I have services for coaches as well, organizations that want to better themselves, that want to do events and show that they have a lot more services for the young men and women, and also for their parents to go through. So it's even for them as well. And even federations. I'm even helping federations of different countries that want to raise the bar in terms of being able to produce better players to compete in the international landscape, and to be able to help their student athletes get scholarships or go pro or whatever. So they want to start young and build that infrastructure for their young kids. And so having done that with Canada over the years, then it's natural for me to be able to help them in those ways.
Oh man, that that, like you said, you mentioned about the whole resume building aspect of it. You're not just playing, you're not just coaching, you're not just starting a club. You're actually working with them to understand what their end goal is.
Yes,
And
that's the first
so
question.
you're putting that mindset of a business to them on an onset. You're not just a trainer, you're not just a coach, correct?
Yeah, definitely. First, you want to know what your end goal is, and then let's develop a wide range of skills and experience. So sometimes you wanted to be a trainer, but now you're in media, or you want to be in a coach, but now you're in the physical aspects of things, a strength conditioning coach, or and if you want to be a coach, then you got to coach leagues. You got to go in camps. You got to get out there. Like anything that's out there, sign up for. Be part of it. There's a clinic going on. The Raptors are doing it. Go down there.
Mm-hmm.
meet people, exchange business cards, and just get your name out there and always be available. So now you can have people evaluate you and see your hunger and see your passion for it and see that someone's really good. Like, for instance, like a great example, one of my former players, he played. He had dreams when he was younger of going to the NBA,
Yep.
right? And that didn't work out. And so he decided to be a trainer. And he started to train kids at a young age and all that stuff. And I've been watching him. And now he's very, very impressive. I've seen him train kids that were not that good. And now they're scholars, they're D1 material. They could be potential pros. And so now I'm out there promoting him and helping him out. And when people drop opportunities for people, I mention his name first.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to really impress people and make people want to mention you to others, because that's what it's all about. You never know who's watching you.
You
You never
never
know
know.
behind the
No.
scenes who's watching your videos and watching you in the gym and hearing about what you're doing, talking to kids, and they're saying, man, this kid's good, this trainer is really good, this coach is really good. And then there's people out there that say, hey, I heard that you're really good. I talked to someone I really know and trust, and now, based on what they said, I'm gonna give you an opportunity. I'm gonna put your name out there. I'm gonna refer you, recommend you to other people. So you always have to, be out there just working it, as they call.
Working it. Now, as you were talking about being whole out there, and I mean, in terms of exposure, how you all started in that early stages, it was different. Now we have social media, right? So which platform do you recommend is the best way to help, whether it be the coaches that you're supporting, or it be the club that you're supporting, whether it be the parents or the athlete, to utilize to get that exposure and have continuously put their work out there so it could be seen, whether it be somebody in Vancouver looking at them or somebody in Montreal looking at them, because you can't always travel physically, but to get that seen, which social media or platform you think is maybe top three or top two that
Yeah.
you can
Well,
recommend is highly well respected and used?
yeah, definitely. So as you can imagine, where people don't really think about, like back in the 90s and the early 2000s, there was no social media. You know,
None.
there was no Instagram, no Twitter.
We had
No,
pagers.
yeah, we had pagers, and it's word of mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like smoke signals. You know what I'm saying? And now you got YouTube, which is very good. The number one thing is YouTube. If you
Okay.
do a video, you upload it on YouTube, you can send that link without any kind of issues about the file's too big, or it's not working, whatever. You put it on YouTube, upload it on YouTube, and then you'll be able to send that link to wherever you need to go to, whether it be a
Mm-hmm.
workout video or it's a game. And like I said, don't do mixtapes. Don't just do clips of like, here's my shot, here's my finish,
Yes.
here's my
Thank
pass.
you.
You got to make a whole series, like maybe 7 seconds of coming down and setting things up, and then you do the play or the move or whatever, the shot, and then shows your reaction and how you go from there. And it has to be no music. Coaches don't like all this cussing and all this
You're
degrading
speaking my
women and all these
words.
different lyrics on
Yes.
there. When you do your mixtapes, don't make it a raw highlights. Don't have lyrics on it, because a lot of it is not appropriate, and that
Yes.
turns off coaches. You know what I'm saying? So let it be what you're doing rather than the music and the lyrics. Don't
Mm-hmm.
let that drown your video and what you're doing on the video. So that's the second best thing would be Instagram. Instagram is the most known right now, and so using Instagram, you can do a lot of things with it. So I'd say the second is Instagram, and the third will be Twitter. And,
Yes.
and the reason why I say Twitter is because most college coaches are on Twitter.
They live on Twitter.
Yeah, they're old
Actually,
school.
I
They're
have a
old
little
school.
guide that I'm putting
Yeah,
together that's coming out. That's where they all
yeah.
live.
That's the way I live, because the kids, the teenagers, they live on Instagram and TikTok and so forth. But the college coaches, because you can put a video and a picture, and you put updates, sayings. You can write your own sentence, whatever. So the coaches are on there. So that's where you want to have coaches see you. Go on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah.
I've been saying that, and it's gonna come out. I'm putting it together, but definitely that's where it is. And you, like you mentioned, the YouTube. If you're on Twitter, you can put both your link
Yes.
to YouTube and your link to Instagram on Twitter. So it's one spot for everything. So you still have your page. You don't have to send them the full video where, like you said, there's a file issue. Just send them the link and they can
Exactly.
watch it and get
Exactly.
back to you.
Exactly. And always include within the YouTube, like your name and your address and your phone number and your contact information and all that stuff, so then they can be able to reach back out to you. And always also have a reference person, like a coach, a trainer,
Okay.
someone that they can refer to, because a lot of times they want to know, how good are you? You're saying you're good, but how really
Wait,
good
so
are
they
you?
can't put their mom there and
Yeah,
say,
no,
talk to
they
my
can't
mom?
put parents. Coaches shy away from the parents because obviously, just naturally, my son's the best. He's the best in the world. He's going to
Why
the
not?
NBA. You know what I mean? So coaches don't want to hear that. They want to know a reputable person, that they're the one that's vouched for you and recommended you. So you definitely have to have a coach, a trainer, a scout, someone that coaches will trust, that
Hmm.
they feel that won't be biased, and they'll tell them the real on what you are about.
I like that. Yes. Okay, so fine. My recommendation, I'll take it aside. No problem. It's okay. Now, when it comes to even parents who used to be coaches, would that count? Or maybe the kid is on the same team where the parent is the coaches, would that count? Or would you want a different type of coach that may not necessarily be on the same team to give that recommendation? Because there are
Yeah,
teams that are like that, right?
yeah, definitely. So if you're a parent that used to play or coaches, then it would good to have a subsequent person. It
Okay.
would good to have the parent, and then also another coach that's not directly related to that person, or someone that's in a different program, or a trainer, or someone that adds to the credibility of it. You know what I'm saying? A
Mm-hmm.
person that
Mm-hmm.
knows who it is. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of times when I talk to coaches, I'll give them a reference of someone else that say, talk to this person. They see them as well, and they have a different eyes. They don't know this person. They never played for them or nothing like that. So they're neutral. You know, so you
Yeah.
always want add that credibility factor to it.
Okay, good. Because I wanted to just clarify that, it's not just anybody who's a coach. Like you want to make sure there's a validation of who you're referencing. And you want somebody that's going to speak well of you as to who you truly are as a player and also as a person, right? Which
Yes.
is good. Now, we've talked about just being on the sports side of it. Is there anything else that you look for or you would recommend from the athlete side of it other than sports? Are you looking at for just, I mean, we talk about the academics and the athletics. Should they also show, include anything else they do, like extracurricular that they do, any volunteer work? Like how should they sell or showcase themselves as a person?
Yes, that's a really good question, because um, coaches want to know, when they talk to me, they want to know first, what kind of person is he
Mm-hmm.
or she? And then they want to know what their academics are about, and then they want to know what kind of basketball player they're about. So therefore, you got to really put on the bio or profile what their academics are. If they took their SAT, what their GPA is, what their likes and what they want to major in, and what their, like you said, their extracurriculars, their hobbies in terms of volunteering and music. They like doing, working with kids or whatever. They want to know what kind of person you are and how you're going
Mm-hmm.
to act around the team, and how you are, you coachable, you have good personality and character. So it's very important to show them and put down the series of skills that you have as well, because it's not just basketball. You could be the best talented player on the team, but maybe you don't listen, maybe you don't work hard, maybe you don't you're not coachable, and that will change and affect your opportunities and your playing time and all those kind of things.
Yes, I like that. So you have to showcase yourself as a person. And
Yes.
you're more than just an athlete, as I always say. There's more to all of us. We all have multiple talent. We're all talent. God gave us more than one thing that we can be good at. One, some things are higher than the other. But if we put all these small little things together, it makes us whole. So I'm glad that you touched on that because I wanted to make sure that, both parents and the athletes understand it. And just like you talk about even the coaches or the trainers, that they also put their life in there too. No, it's not
Yes.
just about all they do. But what else, like, are you looking into what else did they do to even give back or support their athletes and like the mentorship, or are they just strictly just training and then send them off? Is that like some of the things that you would talk to them about?
Yes, yes, definitely. Want to know their qualifications, want to know
Mm-hmm.
their extracurriculars, their hobbies, how they deal with the kids. Because not every single person that's a trainer is really good. Because you might, if you're not really good at exchanging information to another human being, then you're not a good trainer. You got to be able to have that skill of,
Communication.
yeah, you have to have that really good skill of interaction and teaching, and everyone's different. Some
Mm-hmm.
guys want a hard-nosed coach, and some guys want a coach to really show them and demonstrate and walk them through and everything. Some guys can, hey, go there, do this, run around there, spin off this, do that, and they can do it. But some guys you have to really show them and break it down for them and be meticulous. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, there's I have a rating scale for coaches, for trainers, for scouts, all those different people that you need in this game. Because it's a village that builds these kids. You can't just
Yep.
only have only a trainer. You got to have a scout that's working for you and promoting you. You have to have a trainer that's developing you. You have to have a really good coach that and helping you to showcase that and allowing you to play your game. They can't be saying like, oh, you're 6'4", 6'3", you have a little height, so I'll put you in the post and not really work with you on your wing skills and your guard skills. So that's a whole nother ball game there.
Yeah, you got to make sure they're a full, a multi-way player, not just one positional, because
Exactly.
it's five people on the court at all the time. Like I say, you have to be able to move both ways, and wherever
Exactly.
you're at, you have to excel. If somebody breaks, you have to be able to pick it up and support it. So I always say that, and that's good. I'm glad you also touched point on that. Now, as we're winding down, I just wanted to find out also from you when it comes to the whole communication side of it. How can people find you?
Well, people can find me in different ways. They can find me on IG, Coach Ro Russell.
Mm-hmm.
They can email me at Ro Russell Consulting Services at gmail.com. And I'm also on Twitter on Coach Ro Russell. And yeah, those are the main ways that they can find me on. And then I'm also on Facebook at Ro
Mm-hmm.
Russell. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can find me and
You
find
get
my
a hold of
information
you.
and so forth.
Yeah.
I'm on LinkedIn and all that stuff, and I'm in every gym I'm near you. So you'll find me. There's someone that knows who I am and where I am, what I'm doing, and so forth. And so I'm a very accessible. I'm a very accessible person because I want to have people interact with me and reach me to request those services and that help and that education that they need, because I have a lot to offer.
Yeah.
So my mom grew me up to, if you have something and you don't give it to other people, God will take it away. So I'm
Yes.
always looking
Plant
what's
that seed and let it grow. Don't just put it in your pocket. That's for sure. Yeah. I like that. Now, what support do you currently need from my whole baller mom community? I always say, like, you come here, you share all your knowledge, and we're taking it in. But is there anything else that you would need, or anybody else? Like, you already plugged all the different places we can find you, but you already started. So, is there anything that anybody that's watching say, "Oh, sorry, who is that again?" Oh, okay. You know what? If you need this, reach out to me. These are the things I will provide for you. So, if you can just give us a quick rundown of the services. You mentioned a lot as we talked about, but just a high level, all the services that you're providing, because everybody here that has come and watched or listened, something will touch upon them that they can reach out to you.
Yeah, well, I'm very multi faceted, and my consulting services reaches everyone. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So from mentorship, from providing improvement services for prep schools if they want to get players from either Canada, the United States, or overseas. I can help them with that. If they want to get into U.S. tournaments or leagues or circuits or whatever, I can help them in that regard. I can also help to improve their club and how they do things, and be able to present a better product for kids and parents. Personally, if people want a personal service of training and mentorship and development and education about how do they go through this whole process and be able to be in a position to, to be ready to be recruited by coaches and get the fair share of opportunities. I can help them there. I can help organizations with event planning and be able to help them with marketing their programs and those kind of things. And now like I said, I'm into organizations and federations and helping them grow their country. You know what I mean? So it's a wide range from like I said, from prep schools to AAU programs to even corporate companies. That there's a company that wants me to do a workshop to correlate how it is to run a team or organization on a basketball level to now on a corporate level and a business level in terms of efficiency and all that kind of stuff. So it's every day it's evolving, every day it's growing, because I can provide that information to so much people that around basketball, because it's not just about basketball only. There's a lot of peripheral stuff in terms of media, management, direction, training, physical therapy, trainers, coaches, leaders, all types of stuff. There's a whole different ways that you don't always have to say, I want to go to the NBA and that's it. You can branch off into other areas that are very promising and lucrative and also to get a career out of. So,
and is this all, so if I email, DM, contact, whatever way, all the various platforms that you're on, and I reach out to you, am I getting you directly, or am I going through an assistant, or is it a team under Russell Consulting Services that you're going to branch off based on the different specialties, or are they going to be able to work with you directly for a certain period of time until that goal is met?
Yeah, well, for the most part, you'll get me directly, but because of the influx of business and requests for services, I do have an assistant that helps me in terms of putting everything or getting everything organized and helping out with the peripheral stuff. But for the most part, they'll get me my personal services.
I like that because it makes it easier, because if I'm calling you, it's nice to reach out to that individual rather than talk to an automated voice message or something like that, right? Yeah, so definitely. For anybody looking, you will definitely get direct contact, direct connection, direct services. It's not just leave a message and 4 days later somebody else is calling you. You will actually hear from him, and he will, work with you to take the next steps based on the various criteria that you're looking for. So if you're ever worried about it, don't worry. He exists. He's a human being, and he will be in touch with you.
Yeah, I'm not a robot.
Yeah, because we do get a lot of those automated messages and calls lately, and it's hard to screen calls a lot these days. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, you'll get a live person. It'll be me, and you can go from there.
I like that. Good. And so I want to wind it off with, I'm really grateful that you were able to come here and share all, your history of everything that you've done for Canada basketball and all the various things that you've done and the different players and families that you've supported and the next steps that you're doing, not just for even players, but for parents, for clubs, coaches, corporations, countries, and all of that. And it's great to see that growth. I'm wishing you well that you continue to grow and, you have multiple assistants and maybe chapters and, different branches and continue to grow as it is, because we all need that support. And definitely with the growth of basketball is great. But to run it off, where do you see the future of Canada basketball? Knowing where you started to where we are now, what's your prediction for the future?
My prediction is, like, because of social media and technology, it's gonna really blow up even further, because now more people could be reached. Now you're having kids in Vancouver and Alberta and Montreal and Nova Scotia are getting opportunities to go to the NBA and go to college and get helped and so forth. So there's a lot of different people are coming up, and that's one of the things, like you said, I wanted to do in terms of helping more kids by mentoring guys and then having them also. So there's not just me. There's other people that are helping kids. Like some of my mentors are like this one guy named Yusuf Ali, this other guy, Philip Music.
Oh yeah,
It
I think
goes on
they joined a
and on.
little bit earlier. Yes, so shout
Yeah,
out to them.
a lot of my former players are now doing their own programs. Like I think Shamar Coombs was on your show I saw before, and he's
Yes.
a program. Denham Brown is doing a prep school. Everyone is branching out and providing that help for kids. They're giving back, and they're showing their giving back their expertise and their knowledge and their experiences. So there's more people are helping, so that more people can be helped. And the day comes that we cut NBA players on the national team, that's the day that we will medal at the Olympics. You know what I mean?
Cross your fingers, praying on it. I think it
Yeah.
will get there. It will get there. With all these different accolades and all the hard work, like all the names that you've mentioned, I've seen their hard work that they do, the training, their support, their travels, like their feedbacks. I mean, it's great. And it's going to go further for both male and female. So definitely we will get an NBA, draft from a top Canada team directly into the NBA. And I'm praying on that. I'm praying on that. And I think, like you said, it has to be hard work, but it's not impossible. So I second that. I second that. And then, that's the end of all the hard questions, and you did really good in answering. So thank you so much for your honesty and the advices that you've given to, not just myself, but everybody else that has watched or be watching or listening to it later. For yourself, now that you sort of semi-retired and you're taking on another branch for to continue on this journey for it, if you had just one superpower, based on everything you've done, if you had one superpower to add with it, what would it be and why?
Well, I feel that one of the superpowers that I do have is God has given me a gift of predicting the future in a sense that I can see a young man in the 5th grade, the 6th grade, the 7th grade, and I can see where he'll be in the 12th grade. I can see where he'll be in college. So I'm really good at predicting where kids will be at the end of the road. But the superpower that I wish I had is teleportation. You know, I don't have to be sitting on the highways and chilling when I'm trying to get to a meeting or a training session or get to an event or whatever. I can just teleport to wherever I gotta go. If it's
Yep.
Vancouver, States, it's the world, I can just teleport there and then be able to bring my services there. So that would be the
Oh, that's like Dr.
that,
What's it
you know
called?
what I mean?
Dr. X Pro X-Men? Yeah, you just remind them, boom, you're right there. And let me
Yeah.
know how that works, because I'll definitely will want to have that power too, for sure. It's crazy. The traffic everywhere is either
Yeah.
constructions or, I don't know, red light cameras, something.
Yeah,
Everything's
something.
blocking us from driving the way we need to drive,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
crazy. So I like that superpower. And yeah, you're getting a lot of kudos that came through earlier. We were talking about, hip hop hoops. Hi to you guys there saying the greatest ever to
Yeah,
do
so
it.
those are my guys at Hip Hop Hoops. Iggy doing his thing over there, and shout outs to you and appreciate the sentiments.
Yes, yes. And you got some, legend comments there. You had one that says, you're a goat. You like everything that you've said, there's a lot of people that are supporting and attest to it. And with the next steps in your journey, we wish you great success. We wish you great multiplication in everything that's coming to it to continue to, multiply and be fruitful based on, our teachings of Christ. And we look forward to more of it from you. Definitely. And last but not least, you give the last word so that I can finish, because I try not to be the one that talk too much. But before I do, yes, somebody says teleport yourself to Boston. Yes.
Yeah, that's funny because that's an inside joke. Because one of my former players, he's actually the only Division I head coach right now.
Okay.
He so hard. He obviously when he was younger, he wanted to be to go to the NBA, and then that didn't work. And then he went right into coaching, and he worked his way up from assistant to associate head. He was a Division II coach, and then all of a sudden they get a call that his university is going to be Division I. So big shout out to Chris Krause and what he's doing over there. And it's great to see. Like you said before, that it's not only about going to the NBA. There's other great opportunities you can go
Yes.
into and do your thing and achieve your goals. So Definitely Stonehill University is a great institution to go to. So check it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I like that drop in Stonehill. I'll probably tag them in there as well too. So other students can look into it as another avenue for themselves. So why not? And anything that you would like to say before we end off?
I just want to say that I really appreciate everyone that's helped me to be in this position to help others. I've had a lot of mentors and colleagues and even adversaries that have helped me to put that work, to outwork them, to fight through it, to overcome and all that stuff. So God put a lot of different obstacles and different helps and needs and wants in my way to be able to be the person who I am. And I give obviously glory to God for, being in this position to be able to help people. And obviously I do it from the heart. And I'll continue to do so until it's my time. So I appreciate you having me on the show, and I look forward to, more business and more opportunities to help everybody,
Yeah.
because I have a lot of information to help, and I have the heart to help people as well. So look forward to, continued work in this avenue and have more time now that I don't coach prep school anymore. So thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And yes, you see you saying there, Rev 100%. So that's right. Kudos back to you on that. Thank you, everybody, for joining in, and have a good rest of your
And before I
weekend.
go,
Yes.
I want to say that to everyone. Keep working it. Keep working it. Don't take it easy. Don't think that you're good. You got to keep working it. When everybody else is chilling, everybody else is sleeping, keep working it. That's the biggest thing I can tell people. I'm the kind of guy that I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm back up again at 6. I'm working. I'm on the phones. I'm traveling. I'm texting. I'm messaging. I'm researching. I'm doing meetings. If you want success, keep working it. Don't just think that it's gonna happen. You gotta make it happen. You gotta go get it. So keep working it.
We'll leave it right there. This is great. Real talk, real Rev really works. Great. Love it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Thank you so much, Coach Ro.
All right. Thanks for having me, and
No problem.
great, and keep doing the great work you're doing at recognizing and identifying and educating the public about what's out there and who's out there. So you're very. I really want to commend you for the hard work and the avenue you're doing to help everyone out as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Mutuals, it's greatly mutually appreciated, if that's
Okay,
even the proper way
definitely.
to say it. Thank you so much. Hi, bye, everyone.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.
All right. Goodbye.